You've got more handsome since I last saw you. Oh my God, I love your haircut.
Thank you. I got it myself, actually.
So, welcome to one and all.
Sorry, Mark.
I understand this is coffee chat, and there's a lot of discussion involved. And hopefully, you will feel free to ask me questions as I'm talking. Originally, I gave the speech as a competition, as Steve already talked about. However, it easily molds itself into a discussion time as well, because there's some pretty audacious things that are said. So when you hear someone say, forget it, it's a waste of time, it's not possible, does that bother anybody?
I just rise to the occasion. I'll do it, I'll find
Okay.
it.
Okay, so there's one. Anybody else? Does that bother anyone? Yeah, a few people. Keep that in mind. If I hear that, it gets me riled. I usually don't say anything right away, but I will not forget it. Because I want to prove that person wrong. I really, really want to prove them wrong. And I will go out of my way to prove them wrong. It may take a while. I have a few projects that I've been working on for decades. But I plan to eventually prove someone wrong, that it can be done. If you have a 40-foot wall, 10 feet tall, and you have no mechanical advantage, no machines to help, how can you set that wall upright? It's impossible. If you have a dog that is afraid of you, you can look at it and it runs away. How can you train that dog? It's impossible, right? Some of you are disturbed by the word impossible. We train people to accomplish tasks. We tell them things. We encourage people. You've probably all heard, well done, good job, I'm proud of you. Or at least I hope that all of you have heard that at some point in your life. But what do you do when you are the one giving the encouragement to someone, but that person doesn't need it anymore? What do you say after, well done? Because for me, I've pretty much had it up to here with good job. I'm done. Okay, I'm past that. I want something else. Now, don't get me wrong. Well done, good job. If those are genuine words and you can back them up with facts and examples, those are powerful words. And they will change someone for life. Don't belittle them. But it gets to the point where that person has had enough and they want something else. What do you say after well done? Let's take the example of Sir Galahad. Sir Galahad rides off into battle to slay the wild boar that's been eating all the pigs or children or whatever it is. And he comes back victorious. The men cheer, the women swoon. And he says, villagers, for my next challenge, I will slay this recalcitrant chicken. Really? Go from a boar to a chicken? No, that's not what Galahad's gonna do. He'll leave that for someone else. He's now on to slay the dragon. And why? Because no one's done it yet. It's impossible. He's beyond well done. He's taken the next step. He's doing impossible. And no matter where you go, you will see people, you will rub shoulders with people, and you might even be the person who has had enough with well done. Some of you are overseers. You are in charge of managing people. How many here are in charge of managing people? Okay. Probably more than you think. How many here have had children. Ah, you're in charge of managing people. So, to instill in that person who is in your charge, to instill success, to instill victory, to instill a good self-worth, you build them up. Good job. Well done. I'm proud of you. Keep trying. Keep going. We're all with you. And eventually, those words aren't enough anymore. And what do you do? See, to me, I heard those words as I was a child. And my parents built into me a lot of self-worth. But now, that was my childhood. You know, if someone tells me, good job, well, it wasn't that hard in the first place. It's not hard to do good. Well done. Well, of course it's well done. I did it, and I'm going to make sure that it's done well. I'm proud of you. Well, good to be proud of something. Glad for you. You know, like I said, I've kind of had it up to here with well done. I want that next step. I want possible. So if you are managing people and you have built someone up and they're done with well done, what do you do next? Tell them it's impossible. Now, okay, there are limitations. For instance, if my wife tells me, honey, it's impossible to do the dishes tonight. Sorry, that doesn't really wash. Tell me something that's really impossible. Like raising a 40-foot wall with no mechanical advantage. Years ago, we started renovating our house. And there are many things in our house that I have done that I've been told cannot be done. I started renovating. I had no education in electrical. I did all the electrical. I had no education in plumbing. I did all the plumbing. I had no education in framing. I did all the framing. Things that people told me, well, you can't do that. You got to bring in a contractor. No, you don't. You don't. You can do this. So in the process of renovating, we picked up our entire house, put it up on blocks, and completely wiped out the basement, like right down to the footings. Poured new footings, put up new walls, and the guy who was helping me, he was saying, okay, well, these are PWF. PWF stands for Permanent Wood Foundation. It's treated wood, but it's extra treated to last for many, many, many years. So I put up a wood basement, and he says, so how many pieces do you want the long walls to be put in? Our basement was 16 feet by 40 feet long, and the walls were 10 feet high. How many pieces do you want them? And I says, what do you mean pieces? Well, according to his calculation, the full length of the wall was about 1 ton. And he says, we don't have room to bring in a bobcat. We don't have room to bring in a crane because there's only 7 feet between the buildings. We don't have room to bring in anything except a hand jack, and that's just not going to cut it. How many pieces do you want to break them up so that we can put them up one at a time? And I says, no. Make it all in one strip, 40 feet. We'll figure it out. You can't do that. There's no way you can lift that wall. That's a ton of weight. Literally 2,000 pounds. You can't lift that. I said, no. You build it. We'll lift it. Any ideas?
Skyhook?
People.
I was going to say lots of people, yeah.
Yeah. 40 feet long. I nailed a 2x4 1 foot from the bottom, and another 2x4 3 feet from the bottom, the entire length. And I called in 40 friends. Get enough people, you can get something done. And we practiced, all standing in a row. I gave hand instructions how the wall was supposed to go, because the wall's sitting down like this, and the house is up here. But wait a minute, you can't just stand it up because there's a big moving block in the way, 12 by 12 beam. So you got to stand it up, kick the bottom out, let the top down, bring it over. You can't slide it into place, you have to lift it in place because the footing has a bead of silicone that you have to set it on gently. So we practiced a few times, and everybody went through the motions of how the whole thing was going to go. And after they practiced, I said, everybody ready? Let's do this. And just like clockwork. Wall came up, everybody got underneath, they lifted it, got the bottom out, a little dicey there, brought it over underneath the beam, set it in place. When we were done, there were several people that said, who was lifting? It sure wasn't me. It's amazing what you can do. Get a lot of people working. What about that useless dog that I talked about? When I was in high school, our usual dog, our old dog, our really old dog, he died. Well, okay, he had lead poisoning. Those of you who don't know
That's
what...
awful. Don't even joke about that.
Well, he was biting even the family. He was completely senile, and it was time.
Give me a set.
So-
My dad would put him to sleep.
So we had a farm with no dog. Well, you can't have that, so my dad went out and got another dog. But he didn't check it out first and brought this dog home, and you just look at the dog and it's on its back, you know, legs waving in the air, peeing all over itself. Well, that's not useful. That's not a guard dog. What do? You can't even look at the dog to train it. You can't give it commands because that... How do you train a dog like that? Suggestions. For what?
I don't know, but if you find something.
Who's the rescue?
Start somewhere.
No, it was just a scrub dog from the neighbors. They didn't want it. What's that?
With feet.
No. I was in school, so I had the summer to myself. And in 2 months' time, that dog not only guarded the farm, but it would take on anything that ran past the farm. Chase it down, hunt it, kill it if necessary. It wasn't a very big dog. But in 2 months' time, it's a lot of love, it's a lot of reward, it's a lot of time, a lot of guiding. We went on some field trips. In 2 months' time, I turned that dog into a guard dog from being completely useless. But it took time. It consumed every day of my entire summer holidays. But I did the impossible. Now, there's a lot of other stories I could tell you of things that I've done in the house, things that I've done all over the place. Crazy stuff. I built a 40-foot tree house. I did it all by hand. I've done ridiculous things with the house, the renovations, when the inspector just kind of scratches his head and says, well, it's never been done like that before. They pass it. If any of you have come later than I did, you saw the zebra car out in the front. I'm a little bit of an oddball. I like doing the impossible. But if you are in charge of people, if you are managing people, and you are trying to build someone up, and you've got to the end where well done and good job don't make any difference anymore, I challenge you. Tell them it's impossible. But then stand back. Don't hold your hands. Just let it out there that it's impossible. Walk away. And you will see your Sir Galahad. You will see your champions. You will see your front men. Whatever name you want to put on it, you will see them rise to a challenge and prove you wrong.